You know, when we think about groundbreaking figures in the world of science, one name stands out: Jane Goodall. She dedicated her life to studying wild chimpanzees, immersing herself in their world and learning about their behaviors. In a way, I feel like I've been doing something similar these past 8 years, but with a different subject: Donald Trump. No offense to the chimpanzees. Just last night I had my own moment of interaction when Trump took to the stage in Indiana, Pennsylvania to review my performance as an Oscar host. You all remember the Oscars, right? Imagine this. Right before the award for Best Picture, Trump hops on stage and reads a critique of my hosting skills to the entire audience. His wife was pleading with him not to do it, and his manager warned him too. But he couldn't resist. He stands there and asks, "Is there anyone who has ever hosted worse than Jimmy Kimmel?" Oh, Donald. Your ego really does have a way of shining through, doesn't it? You see, he's confused me with one of his sons again. I mean, is he flirting with me? If I had to pick a clip for the in memoriam montage at the Emmys, this would absolutely be it. And can we talk about how often he brings up my wife? Is that supposed to be flattering? Honestly, the Oscars wrapped up over 6 months ago, and yet he's still fixated on my joke. It's quite amusing, really. I love that he's this passionate about it, but come on, let's get the quotes right. What I actually said was, "Has there ever been a host who did a worse job than Jimmy Kimmel?" His response? Well, let's just say it was a bit of an overstatement. And it seems he's struggling to keep track of time. You'd think he'd have other things on his mind, like his upcoming court dates. But no. He's stuck on a joke from last spring. If it helps jog his memory, I'd be happy to send him a few merchandise items commemorating that moment. How about a t-shirt or a coffee mug? Maybe even a wine goblet. I think he'd appreciate a little gift to remember me by. And speaking of gifts, let's not forget that while he's busy critiquing my hosting skills, the election is just around the corner. Every poll shows him trailing, and here he is, still fixated on my performance. It's fascinating to see a former president so consumed by a late-night talk show host, don't you think? But let's talk about the bigger picture. His campaign seems to be floundering, and instead of having a solid plan, he's fixated on one-liners and insults. This is a man who's scared to face the public, yet he can't stop yapping about how much smarter Joe Biden is. The reality is, he's been playing the role of the big man on campus while avoiding meaningful conversations. The country deserves more than his petty grievances. As we move closer to the election, the stakes couldn't be higher, and while he's trying to distract us with his antics, the world keeps turning. Inflation is still a pressing issue, and people are struggling to make ends meet. Meanwhile, over in New York, President Biden addressed the UN General Assembly, urging world leaders to remember that some things matter more than holding on to power. It's a sentiment that strikes a chord in today's political landscape. And let's not overlook the absurdity of Trump's recent campaign blunders. His team mistakenly used a picture of Georgia, the country, instead of Georgia, the state. It's laughable, really, and just goes to show how disconnected he is from reality. As we continue to navigate this whirlwind of politics, remember to stay informed and engaged. Thank you for tuning in today. Until next time, keep the conversation going, and don't forget to subscribe for more updates.